it would be a bad omen if I were to slip and fall on the day before the exam. So I decided I'd wear boots to school just to be safe. See you later. Huh? When I opened the door, I was shocked to see a white-haired old woman lying on the ground, soaked to the bone. I frantically rushed over to her side. Are you okay? Stay with me. Come on, tell me, what happened? Was it a hit and run? The road running by my house was narrow and mostly used only by our neighbors. But it's not like it was closed off to outside traffic or anything, so a hit and run wasn't out of the question. I looked over the old woman's body as best as I could. Fortunately, there were no signs of any serious injury. Doesn't seem like a car accident, at least. Oh my. Of all the times I could forget to turn off my phone. Sorry about that. Let us continue. Young lady. God, my old lady voice. Yes? You must not go to school today. What? You absolutely must not go. Huh? The old woman raised herself up slightly and spoke hoarsely. From the tone in her voice, she seemed terribly desperate. But I have to. Today is my last chance to practice for a college entrance interview. No! Just stay home. Don't go. I have to go. The interview is the part of the exam I'm worst at. Please, just tell me what's wrong. Where is your family? Will you? Will you go, no matter what? Yeah. In that case, please. Not knowing what to say, I nodded apprehensively as the old woman began digging through her pockets. She produced what looked to be a crumpled scrap of paper. As she was digging around, I noticed that her breathing had become dangerously ragged, and began considering my options to assist her. Really, I should have gone back into the house and called my mum, but there was something about her that kept me glued to the spot. I sensed desperation hiding in that unbroken gaze. You must take this. What is it? A charm. A charm? The old woman clutched my wrist and forcefully pressed the scrap of paper into my palm. Tilting my head, I unfolded the scrap and looked carefully at it. At first I thought I'd just been handed a piece of trash. What? But when I unfolded it all the way, I saw that it was actually a paper doll in the shape of a human being. And there was a name written on its torso. Let me guess. Yui Shishito. Yes, my name. Written plain as day in easily legible brush strokes. Why is my name on it? So it can protect you. Huh? If you don't write the name of the person you wish to protect, the charm won't work. Crazy. This was all crazy. I didn't understand any of it, save for one simple fact. This old woman was here specifically to give me this strange paper charm. As far as I was aware, we were total strangers to one another, but she clearly knew both my name and my address. No. No. I'm sorry. I know you came a long way to give this to me, but I don't want it. You don't want it? As I extended my arm to return the paper doll, I could sense her entire demeanor had changed. She raised her body up unsteadily from the wet asphalt. Why not? Well... I've nearly killed myself bringing this to you. Why will no one listen to me? You must not enter Heavenly Host Elementary without this charm. Heavenly Host Elementary? Yes, you must not go. Don't go. As the old woman cried out, the paper doll fluttered lightly to the ground. Almost instantaneously it became soaked through with rainwater. My name began to run and quickly turned into an illegible black smudge. Seeing this, the old woman grabbed and tore at her hair. No! The charm, the way out, has been lost. Ma'am, please calm down. Listen, you must not go to Heavenly Host Elementary. I think there's been some mistake. My school is Kisaragi Academy High. I've never even heard of Heavenly Host Elementary. Ma'am. Oh, God. Mom! Mom, come quick! What's wrong? An old woman collapsed in front of her house. Call an ambulance. Okay. Paramedics arrived in a matter of minutes. The old woman seemed to be unconscious by that point. However, so the EMTs brought out a stretcher. Do either of you know this woman? No, she just collapsed in front of our house. We've never seen her before. All right. Would you be willing to ride with her in the ambulance? The idea of making this old woman go to the hospital by herself just seemed like it would have been a shameful thing to do. Sure, she was a stranger, but we'd had a lengthy conversation mere minutes ago, so I couldn't very well say we had nothing to do with one another. Huey, you need to get to school. What? But... Don't worry, I'll go with her to the hospital. You have to practice for the interview today, right? Yeah, I guess I do. Thanks, Mom. I'll leave her with you then. Good luck. I was a little hesitant, but I knew I had really had to go to school today, no matter what. So I left the strange woman in my mum's care and, heading toward the school, walked right by her stretcher. Yeah! Suddenly a hand arose from the limp form of the old woman and grabbed my skirt. Startled, I tried to jump away, but found myself ensnared by her terrible, bloodshot eyes. You must not go! Ah! After school, once my final practice interview had concluded, I reunited with my friends and engaged in the usual regimen of gossip and small talk. Can you believe that? That's really scary. The hell was wrong with her? When I described the events of that morning, everyone's eyebrows rose. They were hanging on my every word and yelping in unison at key moments. Huey, maybe you should have stayed home today after all. Well, but I had that practice interview. I couldn't miss that, you know? I just hope nothing bad happens. Oh, come on, what could happen? Oh, you know what? When you mentioned Heavenly Host Elementary, I thought it sounded kind of familiar. And I just realized why. You know the Seven Wonders, right? Seven Wonders? You mean those urban legends about Kisaragi? Yeah, those. Does Heavenly Host Elementary have some connection to them? One of the stories is called Yoshi After School. Ever heard of it? Definitely not. I've never heard of it either. What's it about? Well, it takes place at Heavenly Host Elementary, which once occupied the same plot of land where Kisaragi Academy now stands. Oh, okay. It said that one day after school, a female teacher who'd been patrolling the grounds slipped and fell down the stairs and died. The accident took place on a rainy October day just like this one, and occurred just after 7 at night. And supposedly, Yoshi still appears on days like this. Ever unaware that she died at Heavenly Host these many years ago, she now walks the halls of Kisaragi Academy, believing them to be her own. Oh, come on, no. Is it true? Well, it wouldn't be one of the 7 wonders if someone hadn't actually seen it happen, right? That's really creepy. Why don't you head home, Yui? You're the only one who doesn't live nearby, so we can't walk with you. And given the stuff that old woman said to you... Yeah, it's always best to heed the warnings of the elderly. You might be right. I am still feeling kinda on edge. Probably best I go home and check in with Mom. I'll see you guys later then. Bye! See ya. Take care. Give it everything you got tomorrow. I will. I quickly packed up my things and rushed out of the classroom. It was already about 5. It was getting dark out, but if Kana's story was to be believed, I had until 7 before anything bad might happen. As I continued wending my way down the corridor, I kept telling myself, there's nothing to be afraid of. Even so, it felt like it took an extra long time to reach the shoe lockers. Man, I'm such a scaredy cat. Oh, hey Shishido. Tsukasa. Heading home? Yep. What's with the big grin? Heh, it's nothing. Hey, why don't we walk together? At least part of the way. Sure, I don't mind. Great! When I looked at Tsukasa's face, my fear vanished, if but for a moment. These are the times when it's really nice to have boys around, I thought. I felt that as long as he was by my side, nothing bad could happen. Didn't hurt that I had a crush on him, of course. The rain had let up since that morning, though it was still coming down. The two of us walked side by side, umbrellas held high. Tsukasa was talking and laughing excitedly the whole time, whereas I probably came off as preoccupied. I'm sure it was awkward. A vague sense of fear flickered inside of me, and it was making me extraordinarily self-conscious. I'm certain it must have been reflected in my behavior. Shishido? You look kinda pale. Did something happen? Hey. Yeah, something scary happened. Something scary? I probably seemed really on edge. Tsukasa was staring at me with this look of abject concern on his face. I was a little relieved that he'd asked, though, and it felt good to tell him about what happened. I filled him in on all the details, and explained how they related to Kana's ghost story. I did my absolute best to convey the dread I was feeling. But Tsukasa was, well... The 7 wonders of Kisaragi High, huh? Yeah. So you actually believe in that stuff? Sometimes I wish I could see the world through your eyes. What? You don't think it's scary? It's weird, sure, but I wouldn't call it scary. And I wouldn't worry about what that old woman said to you. I'm sure it's just coincidence. But wouldn't it be better not to dwell on it, either way? I mean, yeah, your encounter with her sounds like it was kind of unsettling, but she was probably just a little off, you know? That's not the issue here. Huh? I wasn't asking you to solve my problems for me. Look, I just wanted to vent, okay? I just wanted you to listen. What do you mean? That's what I've been doing. No, not like that. I don't get it. Are you angry about something? Guys always do this. It varies from person to person, of course, but guys invariably jump right into looking for solutions to your problem, or giving you advice on what to do. As a result, girls often can't be totally honest with them, or don't want to be at any rate, and are forced to just bottle up their feelings. I only wanted Tsukasa to share in some of my fears. If he was scared with me, that would have been enough. I didn't realize then that Tsukasa telling me not to worry was his way of showing concern. I just thought he was brushing me off, and frankly that annoyed me. My mind flashed back over and over again to that face, the eyes and the hoarse voice of that old woman. Amplified and distorted by the ghost story, these images gradually darkened my mood. Maybe I was traumatized by the events I'd experienced, or maybe I was just frustrated and needed to lash out, I don't know. But for the first time ever, things had become decidedly uncomfortable between the two of us. Okay, well, this is me. Right. Shishido. He called out my name as I briskly walked away. I didn't really know why I was so angry or confused, but I did notice that his voice was tinged with concern. If anything should happen, feel free to contact me. I considered turning back for a second, but changed my mind and pushed forward in a huff, leaving him behind. I'm home. Yui, welcome back. Greeting me at the door, my mother wore a somber expression. I could tell right away that something had happened. I stared at her with scrunched eyebrows for an awkwardly long time before she eventually, reluctantly opened her mouth to speak. About that old woman from this morning. Yeah? The hospital contacted me. She passed away a short while ago. No. I'm so sorry. You need to stay focused on tomorrow's exam right now, though. Yeah. We should put this unpleasantness behind us. I'm getting dinner started now, so how about you go get changed? Okay, I'll be in my room. I'll call you. I watched my mum work her way back into the kitchen, then wriggled out of my shoes. My mood had darkened even more. Tsukasa's attitude was bad enough, but for that old woman to have died... Returning to my room, I couldn't muster the energy to do anything but collapse into my chair and sprawl out on the desk. You must not go. The last thing the old woman had said to me echoed again and again in my mind. I began wishing I'd taken her more seriously. I should have accepted the paper doll and thanked her. I should have reassured her I wouldn't go to Heavenly Host Elementary. I mean, the place didn't even exist anymore, for goodness sakes. I was exhausted. It was a hell of a day, and I no longer even had the energy to move. I needed to change out of my school clothes, but still sprawled out over the desk, my eyelids drooped and closed. I was out. I awoke with a start. The air in my room had gotten noticeably cooler, and I was shivering. I must have fallen asleep. Rubbing my eyes, I glanced at my clock, the needles indicating it was 6:45. It's already this late? It was black outside my window, streaked with lines from the still pouring rain. Sure hope it's sunny tomorrow. Sunny for my exam. The weight of what the next day held for me came rushing into my mind. I'd practiced the interview process with my teachers quite thoroughly, but I was still really nervous. Okay, I need to make sure I'm ready for tomorrow. There was still a little more time before dinner. My mind swimming, I decided I'd take this opportunity to clean out all the notes and textbooks I wouldn't need tomorrow from my bag. Let's see. Student ID needs to stay, obviously. Handkerchief and tissues. Gotta make sure I don't forget my exam ticket. Oh, and my pen case. Huh? Oh crap. Where's my pen case? Did I leave it at school? My face suddenly went pale. Really, I shouldn't have been too concerned over writing implements. We had tons at home. But that case held the pencil that Tsukasa had given me for guaranteed success on my exam. I have to go get it. Hey Mom, I forgot something at school, so I'm gonna run back for a sec. What? But dinner's almost ready. That's okay, I'll come right home. Alright, it's still raining though, so be careful. I will. That pencil was one thing I absolutely needed to bring with me to the test, and so without hesitation I ran back down the road to school. I was sprinting as close to full speed as I could get without slipping in the downpour. All the while, the numbers on my bedroom clock ran through my mind. 6:45. And if Kana's story was to be believed, Yoshi haunted the school building at 7. As soon as I arrived at the gate, I glanced up at the large clock adorning the schoolhouse. It was now 6:55. Yoshi after school. I went over the whole scenario in my head again, as best as I could recall it. After classes, on a rainy day in October, 7 at night. Did that old woman somehow know this would happen? Get a hold of yourself, Yui. It's just some old campfire tale. I was talking to myself, reprimanding myself in an effort to quell the fear that was welling up in the pit of my stomach. There wasn't a soul to be seen on the grounds. By this time the students had all gone home. I wondered if any teachers were even still around. Fortunately, the lights were all still on, and it was bright enough that I felt confident I could make it to the classroom without freaking out. Okay, I'll just run up, grab the case, and come right back down. I folded up my soaked umbrella and left it on the rack by the entrance, then changed into my indoor shoes. Then, entering the brightly lit hall, I took another look around. Guess I was right. Nobody's home. My deep sigh echoed through the deathly silent corridor. Ordinarily, the din of other students would drown out noises like this, but every little sound was coming through crystal clear at this hour. I need to hurry. It's almost 7. I quickly beelined toward classroom 3-4. About that old woman from this morning. She passed away a little while ago. It said that one day after school a female teacher who'd been patrolling the grounds slipped and fell down the stairs and died. The accident took place on a rainy October day just like this one and occurred just after 7 at night. And supposedly, Yoshi still appears on days like this. Ever unaware that she died at Heavenly Host these many years ago, and she now walks the halls of Kisaragi Academy, believing them to be her own. Jeez, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I letting this bother me so much? Tsukasa was right, I shouldn't dwell on this. Eek! Lightning flashed, and thunder resounded with impeccable timing. I jumped in spite of myself. I just need to hurry up these stairs, grab the pen case, and get the hell out of this creepy building. No ghost should show up in a well-lit building like this, right? And even if they did, they wouldn't be very scary under all these bright lights. I absolutely need that pencil for tomorrow's test. It's my good luck charm, after all. And it's from Tsukasa. I picked up the pace as I continued to head straight for room 3-4. The middle school is already pitch black. I guess there really is no one else around right now. And this hallway feels longer today than it ever has before. Was it always like this? Can't imagine I'd ever be on time if it were. I continued my brisk walk down the impossibly long hallway toward my goal, jumping every now and again whenever another thunderclap sounded. Kisaragi Academy was comprised of both a middle school and a high school, and this evening it really felt like it was flaunting its massive size. It didn't help that my classroom was in the high school wing, which happened to be past the middle school, making it seem that much farther away. When a building that's usually so full of life goes completely quiet, it becomes such a lonely place. I swear I can hear every drop of rain. I was focusing on the scant few sounds around me as I paced down that long, lonely corridor. Then, all of a sudden, I heard a faint noise, as of someone playing an organ. That was just my imagination, right? I mean, it had to be. There's no way anyone would still be here practicing, right? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. It was probably the sounds of the rain, wind, and thunder mixing together. It just sounded like an organ, that's all. I was convinced. I kept walking. But then, I heard the same noise again. This time much more clearly. It was unmistakable. No. No way. I was paralyzed with fear. My heart was pounding as if it were struggling to break free of someone's sinister grip. It's probably just some devoted member of the band, or a teacher who's working late. I'm just being stupid. Thinking about it, I vaguely recalled someone mentioning an upcoming performance by the Wind Instrument Club. I guess an organ would qualify. Somebody must have just stayed late to practice, that's all. I can't get that damn ghost story out of my head. I took another deep breath and tried again, to calm my overly jittery nerves. Anything can be scary if you think it is. I'd heard that if you let your imagination run too wild, fear can even make you see things that aren't there. And my imagination was definitely running wild. I'm almost there. I might as well sprint the rest of the way. I decided to dash toward my classroom so I could get out of this hole as quickly as possible. Finally reaching that familiar door, I swiftly opened it and flicked on the lights. Alright, I made it. Now I just have to be absolutely certain I don't leave here without that pen case again. Thanks to all my unexpected pauses to freak out over thunder and lightning, it took me far longer than it should have to get here. It was already well past 7. 7 o'clock, huh? It was the appointed time, when the ghost of a teacher was supposed to appear. At least, according to the school legend. No undead educators here. I let out a sigh of relief and relaxed my shoulders a bit. The lights were on both inside the classroom and out in the hallway. Sure, it was still dead silent, but the fear I'd been feeling had completely melted away. Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. The 7 wonders aren't real. I grabbed the pen case I'd come for and shoved it into my pocket. Okay, mission accomplished. With my long ordeal behind me, more or less, I looked around the classroom and let out another sigh. I'd only ever known this classroom when it was bustling with activity, and thus found its eerie silence and utter stillness to be oddly fascinating. Such a strange feeling, being alone in a classroom like this. I got the idea in my head to try doing something I normally wouldn't be able to, like standing at the teacher's podium and writing on the blackboard. Chances like this don't come around too often, after all. To me, the area behind that podium, from which teachers conduct their lessons, was like a sacred space. I dreamed of standing there myself one day, and could hardly resist its pull when presented with a rare opportunity like this. Well, no one's looking around, feeling for anything I might have missed. It would seem like such a silly, stupid dilemma, but that didn't change the way I felt at that moment. Should I or shouldn't I? Oh God! I, I can actually do something instead of read. Whoa! Hang on, let me save. This could be like a game-changing thing. Save. There. Yes. Alright. Cool. So, stand at the teacher's podium or leave the room. This is a hard choice. I think that we should freaking stand at the podium. It just, we're gonna get killed by the Yoshi guy, or girl, I mean, but you get to fulfill a dream, and I'm sure it'll be awesome, so let's do it. How can I pass this up? It's a chance to feel like a real teacher. I decided I had to try it. During daily cleanup and such, I'd come and gone from this spot countless times, but this was the first time I'd ever had such an opportunity to just stand here and preside over the classroom. So this is how it looks to a teacher, huh? It's kind of awe-inspiring. Gaining a teacher's point of view, in the most literal sense, was starting to get me real fired up. It may seem silly now, but this was my stage. This was where all my dreams would play out. Someday, I began to imagine the future that awaited me, painstakingly detailing some new piece of knowledge for students sitting attentively at their desks, gliding chalk across the board, filling it with information to aid them in their studies. I sure hope I can make the cut one of these days. I was getting so excited that even I began to think my behavior was a little strange. Maybe it was the juxtaposition of these joyous, freeing visions and the prickling dread I'd been feeling up until just a minute or two before. But then in the blink of an eye, one of those two conflicting emotions completely overpowered the other. Ah! Crap. Is this a blackout? Suddenly, my surroundings were bathed in darkness. Going stiff with shock, I stumbled back a step. My back struck the blackboard with a dull thud. What awful timing! I instinctively grabbed hold of the rail where the erasers sat. I felt chalk dust against my fingertips. My panicked heartbeat was making it difficult to breathe. Was this caused by the thunderstorm? If so, it sure picked a fine time to turn the lights out on me. And what's more, I can still hear the sound of the organ. But no, it's an electric organ. How is that even possible? You must not go. Was this about what the old woman was trying to warn me? About? Fuck, I don't know. That's impossible. She was no fortune teller or psychic as far as I was aware. How could she possibly have known this would happen? Hell, even if she were a fortune teller or a psychic, predicting the future is the stuff of science fiction. I shook my head. I need to calm down. Maybe it's just this wing that lost power and the music room is still okay. That seems plausible, right? I curled my chalk-dusted fingers into a fist and silently tried to talk some sense into myself. I've got to get out of here. I shouldn't have been playing teacher. I should have been in and out by now. Cursing myself a little, I fumbled my way through the darkened classroom. Ah! I'd spent so much time in here. You'd think I'd be able to find my way out of it with my eyes closed, as it were. But sadly that wasn't the case. Smashing loudly into a desk, I knocked it on its side and began tumbling after it, instinctively grabbing at other desks around me for support. Ugh. Damn it. Sounds like I knocked a lot of stuff out of that desk. Guess I'll need to put everything back. Still fumbling around blindly, I gathered up all the scattered notes, textbooks, and writing utensils. Ugh, I can't tell what's what. This is so embarrassing. What the heck am I doing anyway? Was I supposed to be hurrying home? I'm such a klutz. I let out a sigh. I seem to be doing that a lot lately. Okay, this is a textbook and this is a notebook, right? I was trying to take inventory of the things I'd knocked out of the desk, then realized, why? I might as well just stand it up and stuff it all back in. I couldn't possibly organize it properly in absolute darkness. Better to just apologize tomorrow to whoever sits here. Not that that was a particularly pleasant prospect. Explaining what I'd done wouldn't be easy, and no matter how I sugarcoated it, it would serve as a clear indication of my clumsiness. If I didn't say anything, it's not like I'd be found out, but that would be the same as lying as far as I'm concerned, and I couldn't do that. Okay, I think I got everything. I placed my hands against the floor and swept it, and I found something, all right. Ew, gross. What is this? It's all slimy. Ugh. I'd clearly brushed my fingers across something, but I had no idea what. It was no notebook or writing implement, though, that's for sure. Ugh. Just squeaky chair. Hope that's not bothering you guys. Why would anybody have something like this in their desk? Maybe it had been on the floor all along. What is this stuff? I rubbed my sticky fingertips a bit deeper into the wet spot, then brought my hand up close to my face so I could get a better look at what was there. What on earth did I just touch? Eh! There was a flash of lightning almost immediately joined by a roaring thunderclap, and with it, for a split second, the pitch-black classroom was lit up as bright as day. Oh, shit. God, is that blood? I shot to my feet, utterly mortified. In that split second I'd gotten a very good look at my fingers, and it really did seem as if they were covered in blood. But it wasn't just my hand. No, if my peripheral vision were to be trusted, it looked like the entire classroom was stained a deep, dark crimson. Crap, it kind of smells like blood in here too. Without thinking, I backed away from where I'd been crouching. I tried rationalizing what I saw. How could a whole classroom become a bloodbath like this? Did something spill? Did someone stumble in here injured? This is impossible. It can't be. I mean, how? My whole body was quaking. I fled from the classroom. Or rather, I tried to flee. What? Why won't it open? No, please, no. I don't remember locking it. And it isn't locked, so why can't I get it open? I pulled on the door handle again and again in a frenzy. I was pulling so hard it felt like my fingernails might tear loose. But it just wouldn't budge. Why? Why, please? I was absent-mindedly grabbing at my hair with one hand and slammed my fist on a nearby desk with the other. This was a nightmare. Please, no. What is going on? Silence saturated the inky blackness of the room. I took several deep breaths in an effort to restrain my pounding heart. Calm down. I have to calm down. I'm probably just panicking because the door won't open. I'm sure I just misidentified whatever that is on the floor. I mean, it's preposterous, right? There's no way something like that could be. I was certain that when I saw what it actually was come morning, I'd end up being it'd end up being something totally random, like someone's old soda-stained gym clothes. That has to be it. Yeah, I probably just brushed against somebody's paint from class or something. My imagination was just running wild because I was panicking. And the door probably just has something caught in it, that's all. I decided to check out that hypothesis by feeling my way across the door and determining if anything was jutting out from any of the cracks. Damn, not sure I can do this without being able to see. I fumbled around the gaps in the door, but I just couldn't make anything out that way. Maybe there's another exit. No, this was the 3rd floor. I couldn't get out of here without exiting into the hallway. Let me out! I want out! Still at a loss, I noticed a sudden flash of light through the hallway window. But the glass was only translucent, so I couldn't be sure of its source. Is somebody out there? Then there came the distinctive clomp, clomp, clomp footsteps. Ah, of course, it must be the custodian. I recalled the existence of a custodian who always patrolled the school grounds. I'm sure he was probably taking a look around after the sudden power outage. Great, I'm saved. All at once, my fear-addled legs regained their strength. This nightmare would soon be over. Excuse me, I shouted to the custodian at the top of my lungs through the window. Excuse me, I'm trapped in here. I had to be sure he heard me. I shouted again. Finally, I could see the light in the hallway again, and it seemed to be getting closer. However, something's not right about this. Perturbed, I took a step away from the window. If that's a flashlight, shouldn't it be brighter? It kinda looks like the faint, unearthly glow classically attributed to spirits. What was I thinking? I tried to stop myself from finishing that thought, however. Dullness aside, it also looked like it was wriggling around in a very unnatural, very unflashlight-like way. And these footsteps. Clomp, 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 clomp. 4 clomps, then a 3 or so second interval, then another 4 clomps. They were sounding in a fixed rhythm. That's no custodian. Nobody walks like that. The fear was back in full force. I had to find somewhere to hide. What if I'd accidentally summoned something inhuman? I mean, whatever that was. I begged it for help. I literally invited it in. I need to hide, but where? Oh, crap. Now I gotta do another choice? Save again. There. Yes. Okay. Okay, the locker or the podium? The locker's a bit... the locker seems too obvious. Let's go to the podium. I hurriedly hid myself beneath the teacher's podium. I grabbed my knees, curled up and made myself as small as I could. What is this? What's happening? The footsteps continued to draw nearer and nearer. Clomp, 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 clomp. Little by little, the sound grew louder. Every hair on my body was standing on end. Please, just pass by. Please. I held my breath, clasped my hands together, and silently prayed. Clomp, 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 clomp. They were close now. Very, very close. Please, God. Why was this happening? I couldn't make any sense of it. I just wanted it to be over. I prayed to God that it would end. Was this about the old woman was trying to warn me about? Was this all happening because I ignored her? Because I didn't take the paper doll from her? Was it because I'd heard the ghost story of Yoshi and allowed it to get to me? Or did the strange events of the day have nothing to do with what was happening to me now? Feels like my heart is gonna burst out of my chest. I was still holding my breath. I didn't dare let even the tiniest of sounds escape and give away my position. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap. The consistent rhythm of the footsteps suddenly ended halfway into one of its cycles. And it had ended right in front of this very classroom. Oh no! I had goosebumps up and down my arms and legs. I stopped praying and clasped my hands over my mouth. I knew I'd scream if I didn't. Could this be Yoshi? Was the school legend real? All I could do was close my eyes, keep my mouth shut, and hope that whoever or whatever this was would just go away. But the footstep sounds didn't start again. If this was indeed Yoshi, then she'd just stopped in front of the classroom and was just standing there. I had no concept of time anymore. I stayed in my hiding spot for what was probably only a few minutes, but felt like at least an hour. Maybe whoever it was is gone. I decided to carefully peek out from under the podium. I gingerly edged my head out, just far enough to get a glimpse of the room, when suddenly... The footsteps rang out once more. It sounded like they were headed right for me. And they might have been inside the room, I honestly couldn't tell. I scrambled back into my hiding spot and covered my mouth with both hands. This was too much for me. My breathing was coarse and erratic, and my face was a mess of tears and snot. God, please, save me. I was inconsolable. The footsteps just wouldn't stop. What on earth were they doing? It almost seemed like they were running around in circles, just to scare me. Stop it. Please stop it. I mouthed these words over and over again, and moved my hands to my ears in a vain attempt to block out this torturous sound. And as if in response, the sound changed. It was a loud, dull thud, followed by silence. No more footsteps. I'd heard that sound hundreds of times before. It was the classroom door sliding open. I peeked out, but the door was still tightly shut. How could that be? If the sound I heard wasn't the door, then what was it? With what little safety I'd felt here was pretty much gone. But to be fair, I wasn't absolutely certain the spirit had seen or heard me either. The prospect of stepping out into the open wasn't a desirable one, but I had to decide if it was better to stay where I was, or to make a break for it. Oh shit. Another choice, god damn it! I need to save. Again. I don't know. Was that a bad idea to be on the podium? Because I'm thinking that if I had have just left, maybe I could have escaped all of this trouble of being inside the classroom altogether. I think the best chance is to stay hidden, because the sound that she heard was most likely... what I'm thinking is that if I'd have hidden in the supply closet or whatever, the ghost would have gone to check that, and then I would have been killed. But if I stay hidden... So that sound we heard just now wasn't the door, it was the supply... I'm just talking out of my ass here, but that's what I think. The ghost opened the supply closet and closed it, and now if I stay here, it'll fuck off. Let's do it. I'll keep hiding. It'll pass by for sure. It'll be okay. Ah, fuck, it only took a moment for that decision to come back and bite me. Ah! My body was suddenly weighed down. In an instant, without knowing what was happening, my fetally positioned form was essentially locked in place. It was like a boulder... Oh my god. A boulder had fallen on top of me and was resting on my arched back. I twisted and shuffled myself around, trying to shake it off, but the more I struggled, the heavier it became. And what's more, it felt like it was slowly inching its way up toward my head, as if it were planning on dropping down in front of my face. Was this a person? Guess who? It was a female voice, reverberating ominously as if bubbling up from the depths of hell. Ah! I squirmed violently, desperate to throw her off of me. Shall we play tag together? My vision went red. Or at least it felt that way. Whoever was on my back had dug her razor-sharp fingernails right into my eyes. I collapsed on the spot. The pain was instantaneous and unbearable. I could no longer hold my position. I could no longer focus on anything but this agony. My eyes! My eyes! Ah! Bad children must be punished. The pain shot through my head in waves. It was indescribable, unthinkable. I couldn't take it any longer. My consciousness had faded, and I was gone. But I never know exactly what had happened to me. Maybe I was better off that way. Well, well, well. My first wrong end of Corpse Party Book of Shadows. Son of a bitch. Number 3, wrong end 3. Ha. Well, I must say, I don't know if you guys have realized it or not, but my throat has become ridiculously hoarse. And, you know, I can't really even do the voice anymore. Like, I need water. I guess this happens when I record too long. I kind of wanted to get through the whole intro thing, but it's just going on and on. I don't even know if we're in the if we're even still in the intro, or if this is like the actual game now. Because, like, you know, I can't really say, but I think I'm gonna put in a little annotation at the start just to be like, you know, skip to this point to you know, miss all of the dialogue if you're not interested in it. But by all means, listen to me talk and listen to the story. It's interesting. I like it. It's just that having to read it can get a little bit tedious if it goes on too long. But I enjoy it though, so that's fine. And I hope you guys enjoy it too. So for now I'm going to stop the recording here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next piece of shit that I upload. So, bye bye.